I want to kind of like bring this to light. There is somebody that is number 2 Newcastle. I know that he might have more kills than me right now. There's rumors that he bot lobbies and he's 6-man before an arena.
Some unsuspected drama.
Today, the number 1 Newcastle is answering your most important questions.
All right, first question from Legendary Apez. Why did you main Newcastle in the first place?
I heard this question multiple times, but the reason why I main Newcastle is because a lot of people don't know that I mained the Lifeline back in season 0 and 1. So he kind of has like that res ability, that res efficiency when it comes to, you know, being a great support character. And I used to main Gibby back in season 5. So I kind of see Newcastle as like a Lifeline and Gibby type of mix. And, you know, I just like his kit overall. His tactical shield, if you know how to play him correctly, his overall kit could be good, but his tactical shield, you know what I'm saying, could use a little bit of, I don't know, I feel like it just in pred rank, like if people could shoot the tactical shield and it'll just be gone in seconds. So I mean, I don't know, but if you know how to play him correctly, his tactical shield is really good. You can move it, you know, bring your teammates to cover, you know, if they're trying to cross somewhere, you could throw your tactical shot out, you know, give them some crossing coverage. And his ult, you know, you could basically go from point A to point B in seconds. So it's just really good overall.
All right, that's very interesting because I know we have a couple questions about Newcastle compared to Lifeline and Gibby. So you got the whole trifecta going. You know everything about all of them. So this is going to be good. All right, Yael Bumgartner is going to ask, what are the best teammates you could pick out of all the characters?
Playing with like a Pathfinder, a Horizon, Loba, for example, I love having Lobas on my team. That's probably the number 1 person that I love to pair up with Newcastle. But I feel like if you're like trying to play for comp wise, I don't know, something along like with Pathfinder, Horizon, Bangalore, them 3 is like really good paired up with Newcastle. A lot of people don't know, but when you ult in smoke, you can see the enemy's outlines through their body for a split second. And if your teammates are paying attention, you know, they get highlighted and you guys could team shot, you know what I'm saying, the person through the smoke if you're, you know what I'm saying, actually focused up. A lot of people don't know that. But, you know, Loba, a lot of people don't know that when she throws her Loba bracelet, if you ult like for a split second before she teleports, you could go from where she was at before to across the max distance where she throws it, and you go farther than like ulting on a teammate's banner. So I'll say Loba, Bangalore, Pathfinder, and Horizon. Those 4 right there are like really good to play with.
Pathfinder and Horizon, I'm guessing, because they can get you to height quickly.
Yes, yeah.
All right, James Baxter wants to know your sensitivity or ALC settings, please.
So everybody knows that, you know, 4-3 Classic is the standard, you know, majority of controller players in Apex Legends, whether you're on PC or console, is like the most like, you know what I'm saying, consistent sense. But for me personally, I used to play 4-3 Classic, and I just been finding myself a lot of like errors or like being really inconsistent on the sense for some reason. So I switched to ALCs in season 14, and I just find myself being more consistent. I feel more smooth. I feel like some situations up close, I can hit more shots. Far away, I can hit more shots, you know. I just feel like it balances out everything. And people that use my sense, they said that it's really good, like really, really good. Because I use 6 response curve. I think linear is like 0 to 2, and classic is 8 to 10. So I'm like in between both. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
what would you recommend for newer players to start out on? A slower sense?
4-3 Classic.
Okay. Everybody's talking about 4-3 linear lately. I don't know, on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, I would say that could work too. 4-3 linear is a good shout. 4-3 Classic, 4-3 linear is the go-to.
All right, we got a question from Tipsy. How do you avoid getting shot when rezzing teammates?
When you're rezzing as Newcastle, you're just taking a gamble. Every time you res, you're taking a gamble. You know, it's only covering 50% of your body. You know, if you're not aware enough, you're gonna get fried from behind. My recommendation is if you have your tactical shield, always throw down your tactical shield, so that when you're rezzing, you can put your back facing the tactical shield, and the, you know, knockdown shield is facing the other direction. So that is one way. Another way is, a lot of people don't know that you could do this as well, but you can move your tactical shield while rezzing. Kind of like shock that people don't know that, but you can move your tactical shield while rezzing. And if you're close to a building or towards a door, you know what I'm saying, you could go inside, move yourself inside, you know, give you as much coverage as you possibly can. You just gotta sometimes bait rezzing to pick off somebody. If you're getting pushed, is always a good idea as well. Not all the time you need to stick to res, unless you have gold knock. You could just full send it in and, you know what I'm saying, play off your teammates health whenever they get back up.
All right, we got a question from Corvax. Is Newcastle's mobile res better than Gibby's fast res?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like I said before, you could move your teammates around cover. You could throw down your tactical shield, get as much cover as you can, going around stuff that isn't going to be disappearing. For example, like a Gibby bubble, it's going to disappear in I don't know how many seconds, 8 to 10. But if you bring yourself around corners or inside buildings, you can't destroy a building. You're going to have full on coverage. So yeah, it's definitely better. Now, I will say, this is added on to the question, Gibby's bubble, in my opinion, is better than Newcastle's tactical shield. Just because you can't destroy Gibby bubble unless it's a Maggie's ult, and a lot of people don't know this either. Newcastle's tactical shield doesn't get destroyed by Maggie's ult, which is very, very weird.
Bounces right off. That happened to me the other day.
Yeah, I mean personally though, like I said, I still feel like Gibby's bubble is still better. In higher ranks, bro, if you have 3 pred players that know how to shoot back and use their brain, that tactical shield will be gone in literally a second or 2. Like, it's so weak if you have people team shotting that shield. It's not that good as people think it is.
All right, so let's say unique situation here. You're the Newcastle. You have a Gibby on your team and your teammate goes down. How effective would the bubble going down and then you rezzing them like around the bubble be? You think it would be even stoppable?
Yeah, no, I'm getting that person up 1,000%.
Okay, good.
I'm getting that person up 1,000%.
That might be an OP combo if you have like a legend that can get you height and then Gibby Newcastle. That would be, I don't know.
For sure.
All right, we got a question from Evan. Is Newcastle a viable building camper with just him? If he is, how would you hold the building?
I don't think he's a good building character at all. I see Catalyst or Cossack as a good building camper, but Newcastle, I don't think he's reliable at all. Now, if you do want to know how to hold a building, I mean, there's times where I am getting pushed in like a cascade building. I'll block off the stairs. If the building has stairs, I'll block off the stairs with my ult or block off a doorway with my ult. But then again, like, people don't realize this. They get scared when a Newcastle ults the doorway, is you could punch the ult literally 2 times and it destroyed. Like, it's just gone.
From the outside?
Yeah, like people just don't realize that.
That's because you get stunned from it, correct?
Yeah. So people just get scared, but like if they just punch it twice, I mean, they're chilling, But if you do play the building, maybe ulting the stairs so that, only one direction to come up the stairs, you just have a head glitch on the Newcastle ult, you can fry them or block off the doorway. But that's really it. Like, I don't really know how to hold down the building. I'm not really a building camper, playstyle person.
All right, we got a question from Turtle Gaming Zone. Is he better or worse than Lifeline and Gibby? If so, why?
I have the discussion so many times on stream. Okay, so Lifeline, 1,000% better. I mean, this is common sense. Like, Lifeline is, she doesn't have the knockdown shield when rezzing teammates. Newcastle does. I mean, it's a good thing where, she could drop her heal drone and, play around her teammate, while rezzing because you're shooting back. The only downfall about that for Newcastle is you can't shoot back, and same thing goes for Gibby. So that's like Lifeline's, plus. But everything else, like bringing around cover, she can't do that. Knockdown shield, like, I don't know. It's just overall better for Newcastle. Now, when it comes to Gibby, I feel like it's very scenario. I do feel like Newcastle is slightly better than Gibby.
So you got 1 gold knockdown shield, and you have these 3 legends. You give it to the Newcastle.
Yeah, it's the same thing that goes what I said for Lifeline. Like, you could bring people around cover if you're Newcastle. You can't do that for Gibby, You could maybe pull out the bubble. If you're like outside of a doorway, that's gonna last longer than a tactical shield. Might be able to get your teammate inside in time. Bringing them around corners is like literally like the best thing possibly for Newcastle.
All right, Triggy asks, how do you 1v3? Please explain to me in full detail.
You have one of the biggest hitboxes in the game. It doesn't matter if you have fortified. Yeah, one of the biggest hitboxes in the game. Your kit doesn't revolve around like movement or like get out of situations other than your ult that literally lasts a second. So I mean, to 1v3, you just gotta pick off people one by one. It's gonna be hard to do that. You're gonna have to try to split up your opponents into 1v1 scenarios, because if you're going on head-on 1v2, 1v3, the chances of you winning a 1v3, 1v2 is just not gonna happen. You're gonna have 3 people shooting at you at once. So
all right, we got a question from Tristan. While playing Newcastle, should you run shotguns or SMGs?
Shotguns and AR. It's simple. I know that when a PK wasn't a crafter, I think that was recently, I did not craft the PK. I was just running a R3 Volt, R3 car, flatline, Volt car. It doesn't matter. The number 1 loadout for Newcastle is R3 and PK. I'm telling you, this is the best loadout. Or it doesn't matter what shotgun. If you're good with the Eva, use the Eva. If you're good with the massive, you go with use the massive. But me personally, I'm the best with the PK. I hit nothing but 80 pluses with that gun.
This guy's a cheeser. Only using the best gun.
You got that long range ability, you got that mid range ability with the R3, and close range with the R3, and you have the PK that could shoot from close and medium range, you know?
Kason Spillers asks, what are the best tips to using your ultimate ability?
My best tip for you is whenever you see people on high ground, okay, if you have ult, if you're trying to make a play, you know, you got to calm out to your team trying to make a play, or you could do a solo play, you know, just be aware that this might punish you. But it's always a good thing to ult onto high ground if someone's atop and above you, and you could push them off of high ground. Like, say if it's a Mirage on height, or I don't know, Lifeline on height, you slam down on the roof because the knockback effect when you ult onto somebody and they push them off, you get a free pick off of that. Your teammates are down below, or you could fight the other people that didn't get knocked off on the roof and splitting up the opponents, you know? So that's one good tip. And the second tip I have for you is ult your doorways off, because like I said, people be so scared to punch the Newcastle ult when there's electric on it on the doorway. So just ult off doorways if you can and hold it down.
This guy said he doesn't camp buildings. That's all he does. That's all he does. All right, Liam asks, what is the best way to use Newcastle as a starter player?
Best way to use Newcastle as a starter player. I recommend people don't use Newcastle as a starter player because, in my opinion, I feel like he's one of the most skilled legends to use, but just because his kit is hard to use and be efficient with. If someone really does want to use him as a starter player, I'll just say just play around your teammates majority of the time. Once you get better with Newcastle, you don't really have to play around your teammates as much because you know like when to play with your teammates and when not to. But if you're just like playing Newcastle as a starter player, be by your teammates' hip, be by their side, like literally like 100% of the time. Now I'm not saying every time your teammates are on their knees, you know what I'm saying, crawling to you, don't res. And then if you see 3 people pushing you, don't stick the res. I see so many Newcastle players sticking reses when there's 3 people that's trying to push them with no goal knock. Like I'll understand if you have a goal knock and you're trying to stick the res, but that even doesn't work because you have 3 people pushing you when you are not even defending yourself. Now using the ult and tactical, just do basic stuff, man. Use tactical for pushes. You know, if you're pushing people on staircases or pushing people out in the open, use your tactical shield. Use your ultimate to get an off angle. I don't know. It's like the team's gonna get scared. They don't know what they're gonna do, you know? So they have to look at you all the way to the right when you're head glitching behind your tactical shield and you have 2 teammates that are in front of you, you know? So you could just get off angles.
Kabozu asks, what kind of heirloom would you like to see on Newcastle?
My favorite idea that I actually heard from somebody was like a dual wield sword or like a dual wield sided battle axe. I feel like that was pretty dope. My idea though, I said a big Viking sword. I know it's pretty lame, but I don't know, maybe he like drags it on the ground like how Revenant drags, I think, his heirloom on the ground, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that.
No, actually, I don't think he does that.
No, he does. I mean, he doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Definitely doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
He spins it around. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying if he like drags it on the ground, yeah.
You'd be going up. You'd be pulling out the fights here and.
For sure. Like, I don't know, something like that, you know, like a big Viking sword, hammer or whatever. I think that would be pretty dope.
All right. Elijah wants to know what legends counter Newcastle or are the hardest to fight against?
The number 1 person out of everybody is Maggie. Maggie is so annoying to face against. I can't express it enough. She is literally the number 1 counter because if you use her ult on Newcastle's ultimate, it destroys it and it knocks you back and you're stunned for literally 5 seconds. So you get a free beam. If you ult away or use a tactical shield, she can use her drill. It goes through your tactical shield. It goes through your ultimate. Number 2, Fuse. Fuse is very annoying. Same thing. Like, they're just the dynamic duo of this making me mad. Like, I get irritated facing these characters. Fuse with the clusters could shoot it at Newcastle's tactical, and the ultimate does the same thing like the drill does. You know, it takes a little bit longer to destroy the tactical and Newcastle ult if you keep using the knuckle clusters, man. Number 3, Seer. So many times where I'm ulting away, by the clutch a 1v3, and this guy just comes out of nowhere. Seer scans me, bro, when I'm 0.1 second off of popping the Phoenix, and I'm literally just 5 HP, and this guy is right next to me, and this kills me, bro. So them 3 are super, super annoying.
All right, next question from Schmack2Trappy. What do you think of the Newcastle skins?
I feel like they're getting slightly better. The recent one that came out, the super superhero one, the Cosmic Protector, terrible. Like, this guy looks absolutely goofy. I don't like it at all. Main event is the recent one that I like. That was the winter event. That one is pretty sick, man. I love it. I like the horns, you know what I'm saying, next to his helmet, his overall, the colors, you know, the fur on him. I like it. It's a pretty solid skin. And the recent one that came out as well, it's called Jade Fortress. He looks like a green Ninja Turtle. You know, it's a pretty solid skin. It could be better. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10, but main event, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's not that bad, man. I like it.
All right, last question today from Clean Energy. When should you stick the res or abandon it when getting pushed with Newcastle? I know you talked a little bit about this before.
Yeah, so like I said, if you're getting pushed by, say if you knock one and your team gets traded out by the enemy team and he gets knocked. So if you push up onto your teammate, you know, res, and you see 2 people aping you, bro, you could just not res. You know, you don't have to res. You don't have to stick it. Some people really fall for the, you know, oh, this guy's going to stick the res, you know, push up on him. You could just hit the cancel button, one mag somebody, go back onto the res, switch weapons, and mag the other kid, because they just, for some reason, think that every Newcastle is going to stick the res.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, there's somebody, I want to kind of like bring this to light. There is somebody that is number 2 Newcastle.
Oh boy, drama.
I don't know him at all. I know that he might have more kills than me right now as we speak.
Really?
But he hasn't appeared on the leaderboards once. There's rumors that he bought lobbies in London lobbies, and he's 6-manned before an arena.
Some unsuspected drama in this video that I wasn't ready for this. You don't know his name?
No, he doesn't. He changes his name frequently. He hides his name off leaderboards, and yeah. So me, and shout out to the boy Shard, don't really fuck with this guy at the moment because he doesn't stream. Like, he has 50, 60,000 kills with no stream, no content at all. And there's people that know him that told me that he bought lobbies, but there's no actual proof. I'm just bringing this into light.
That's it. I'm getting him on the channel immediately after. You're no longer the number 1 after this video, so.